He told me to trust him, so I did some digging, found out he had a secret wife and kids, and made sure his entire life collapsed with a single group chat message that exposed everything. I was 38, recently divorced, and not looking for anything serious. He was 42, charming, and seemed to understand me in ways no one else did. We exchanged numbers, and what started as casual texts turned into nightly phone calls. He said he lived in New York, worked in finance, and traveled often. That explained why we couldn't meet frequently. But when we did, it was magical. Dinners in Manhattan, weekend getaways, and deep conversations that lasted until dawn. He told me he was divorced, had no kids, and was ready to start a new chapter. I believed him. After a year, things started to feel off. He'd canceled plans last minute, always had an excuse for not answering calls, and was vague about his past. I brushed it off, thinking I was being paranoid. But then I noticed he never let me visit his place. He always came to mine or suggested hotels. His social media was practically non-existent, and he avoided taking pictures together. One night, curiosity got the better of me. I searched his name online, but nothing substantial came up. It was like he didn't exist. I decided to dig deeper. I remembered a company name he mentioned and looked it up. Their website had a team page, and there he was, smiling, with a different last name. Using that, I found his LinkedIn profile, which led me to his Facebook. It was private, but the profile picture showed him with a woman and 2 kids. My heart sank. I created a fake account and sent a friend request. To my surprise, he accepted. His timeline was filled with family photos, anniversary posts, and birthday celebrations. He wasn't divorced. He was married with 2 children. I was furious. I felt betrayed and humiliated, but I needed more proof. I reached out to a mutual acquaintance from the conference where we met. She confirmed that he was known to flirt but never mentioned his family. I decided to confront him. I invited him over, acting as if everything was normal. Once he arrived, I showed him the Facebook profile. He turned pale. "Why did you lie to me?" I demanded. He stammered, trying to come up with excuses. I told him to leave and never contact me again. I couldn't let him get away with this. I gathered all the evidence, screenshots, messages, photos, and compiled them into a folder. I found his wife's email on his Facebook and sent her everything. I also sent the folder to his company's HR department. But I wasn't done. I created a group chat with his close friends and colleagues, including his wife, and sent a message, "Just thought you all should know the kind of man he truly is." I attached the folder and left the group. I heard through the grapevine that his wife left him, taking the kids. His company launched an investigation, and he was fired for misconduct. He tried reaching out to me, begging for forgiveness, but I blocked him. I felt a mix of emotions, anger, sadness, relief, but most of all, empowerment. I had taken back control. Note: this story is a fictional narrative inspired by common themes found in real-life experiences. It aims to reflect the emotions and situations that many individuals face in similar circumstances. After I sent that group message and left the chat, I felt like I had finally done something that mattered. He fooled me for over a year. He played with my emotions, my time, my trust. I thought I was done. I really did, but the fallout didn't stop there. 2 days later, I got a message from an unknown number. It was his wife. At first, I didn't want to respond. I felt like I already gave her everything she needed. But she kept texting. Not angry, not rude, just calm. Too calm. She said, "Please, I just want to talk. I'm not mad at you. I just need answers." I gave in. We met at a quiet little coffee shop in the Bronx. She was prettier than me. That hurt more than I expected. Her name was Clara. She didn't cry, didn't yell. She sat across from me and asked every question you'd expect someone to ask. "When did it start? Did you ever go to our house? Did you sleep in our bed?" I told her the truth. All of it. I didn't sugarcoat anything. And at the end, she just looked out the window and said, "I knew something was off. I just didn't know what." Then she told me something I didn't see coming. "You're not the only one." I blinked. What? She pulled out her phone and started scrolling. Photos. Screenshots. Messages. At least 3 other women. 2 from work. 1 from their old neighborhood. One of them had even come over for dinner once, when Clara was out of town with the kids. It felt like my stomach dropped. He wasn't just a liar. He was a full-blown predator. It wasn't just me. It wasn't just her. I went home that night with a migraine and a growing sense that this wasn't over. I thought I ended it with one group chat message. I thought I burned the whole thing down. But there was more. So much more. A week later, Clara called me again. She had spoken to one of the other women. She was young, barely 25. She was pregnant. And she thought he was single too. That's when everything spiraled. Clara wanted to expose him legally. She said she was talking to a lawyer. She asked me if I'd testify if it came to that. I agreed without hesitation. But somehow Marcus found out. He showed up at my apartment unannounced. I was in my pajamas, it was 10 at night, and he was pounding on the door like a madman. I didn't answer, but I peeked through the peephole. He looked rough, unshaven, eyes bloodshot, hair a mess. "Please," he yelled. "Just let me talk to you. 1 minute." I called the cops. By the time they got there, he was gone. But that wasn't the end. The next day, I got flowers at work. A dozen roses. No note. Then emails. "I made a mistake. I never meant to hurt you. Please don't ruin my life." It was too late for that. But what really messed me up was what happened after Clara sent me a voicemail. She had talked to the pregnant girl. Turns out, Marcus had promised her he'd divorce Clara and marry her. He even showed her fake divorce papers. The girl believed everything. She moved to New York to be with him. Left her job. Left her family. And now she was pregnant, scared, and broke. Clara said the girl was considering an abortion, but didn't want to do it alone. She asked me if I'd go with her. I didn't know what to say. That night, I sat in the dark and stared at the ceiling. I thought I knew what revenge looked like. I thought I'd done what I needed to do to make him pay. But the damage he caused went deeper than I ever imagined. And now I was part of it. All of us were part of it, connected by one man's lies. And then I got an email from someone I didn't recognize. Subject line: "Are you the one who exposed Marcus?" I clicked. That's when everything changed. The email was from someone named Anthony. I didn't recognize the name, but the tone was serious. He said he used to work with Marcus years ago at a company in Atlanta. Said he saw the group chat screenshots floating around and started putting pieces together. He wasn't contacting me to talk about Marcus's cheating. He said he was contacting me because he thought Marcus might have done something worse. At first I thought it was a joke or some petty office drama, but I kept reading. Anthony wrote, "I know what he did to you is personal. But I think he's been doing this to women in multiple states. And not just emotionally. Financially. He conned a friend of mine out of $30,000. She thought she was investing in a business he was starting. Then he vanished." I read that line twice. I asked Anthony to call me. I needed to know this was real. He did. He sounded older, maybe late 40s. He told me that back in 2019, Marcus worked under a different name. Not a fake one, but his legal first and middle name, James Marcus, instead of Marcus James. Apparently, it's something he did often to avoid popping up in searches. He'd use one variation in one state, a different one somewhere else. Anthony said his friend Melissa met James in Atlanta through a dating app. They hit it off. She thought he was wealthy, successful, polished. Same routine he pulled on me. He told her he had a side business importing electronics. Convinced her to invest. She transferred the money, and within 2 weeks, he was gone. Changed his number. Quit the job. Disappeared. Melissa filed a report, but it didn't go anywhere. No paper trail. The cops said it was a civil matter. She never saw the money again. And now I knew what Clara meant when she said he was dangerous. I called her. I told her everything Anthony said. We looped in Melissa too. We started putting together a timeline, piecing together where Marcus had been, what name he used, who he targeted. The picture got darker with each detail. He didn't just cheat. He didn't just lie. He scammed. He manipulated. He hurt women over and walked away clean every time. But now he'd messed with the wrong group. I told Anthony about the pregnant girl, and he got quiet. Then he said something that stopped me cold. I think he has other kids. Ones he never told anyone about. I asked him what he meant. Anthony said, back in Atlanta, there was a woman, Tasha, who also dated Marcus. She had a baby a year after he left town. Said it was his. Tried to reach him for child support. But she couldn't track him down because he vanished again. She gave up eventually. She even moved to Florida to get a fresh start. I found her on Facebook. The kid looked just like Marcus. I sat on the floor in my living room, holding my phone, staring at his face. All this time, he was building lives like sandcastles, letting them wash away as if none of us mattered. And he was still out there. I texted Clara. We need to go public. She agreed. We started planning. But before we could do anything, something happened that I never expected. I got fired from my job. My boss called me in. Said they received a serious complaint. That I was being investigated for harassment. That someone claimed I was stalking and threatening a former partner and harassing his family. I was in shock. I knew exactly who was behind it. Marcus was trying to scare me. He couldn't control the women anymore, so he was trying to ruin our lives instead. But it backfired. Clara's lawyer sent a cease and desist to Marcus. Melissa went back to the police with new information. And the pregnant girl finally filed a formal complaint too. And then Clara called me in the middle of the night. She said Marcus was gone. Not missing. Gone. He left his job. His apartment was empty. His car abandoned in a parking garage. Nobody had seen him in days. That was 3 days ago. And now we're all wondering the same thing. Did he run? Or is he planning something worse? 3 more days passed with no sign of Marcus. No emails. No messages. Nothing. At first, I felt a weird sense of peace. Like maybe it was finally over. But then Clara called me again. He showed up. My stomach turned. Clara said he came to the house late at night, pounding on the door, screaming. The kids were asleep. She didn't let him in. She called the police. But by the time they arrived, he was gone again. He'd shaved his beard, cut his hair. Looked thinner, jittery. Like a man on the edge. That was the moment I realized he wasn't running because he was scared of us. He was spiraling. A man who lived by lies and now had nowhere left to hide in. We all decided to meet in person. Me, Clara, the pregnant girl, her name was Nia, Melissa, and Anthony. We met in a quiet room in a community center Clara's lawyer arranged. It felt like a support group, but there was no comfort in it. Just tension, anger, and the weight of too much pain. Clara brought a thick folder, copies of every message, every screenshot, every piece of evidence. Nia was pale, barely speaking, one hand on her stomach. Melissa kept tapping her foot, eyes narrowed like she wanted to punch something. And me? I just sat still, waiting, and then Marcus walked in. I don't know how he found us. Maybe he was following Clara. Maybe someone told him. But there he was. Skinny, worn out, eyes sunken. He looked like a man drowning in his own lies. The room went silent. He looked at Clara first. I just want to talk. Clara stood. No. You want to manipulate. That's all you've ever done. I didn't mean to hurt anyone, he said, looking at Nia. You have to believe me. I panicked. I didn't know how to fix it. Fix what? I asked. The lies? The cheating? The baby you walked away from in Florida. He turned to me. You don't understand what it's like keeping everyone happy, trying to stop. Nia screamed. Everyone froze. She stood, shaking. I left my family for you. You told me we'd get a house, that we'd name the baby after your grandmother. You said you were divorced. You lied about everything. Everything. Marcus took a step forward. Melissa blocked him. Don't come closer, she snapped. You conned me. You stole from me. I should sue you into the ground. Anthony stepped up too. You're not getting out of this. You think vanishing will help? You're a criminal. What you did isn't just wrong, it's illegal. Then Clara pulled out the folder and threw it on the table. You see this, she said. This is your legacy. Women you used, money you stole, lives you shattered. You can't just disappear and expect it all to vanish. Marcus looked like he wanted to scream. His hands clenched. He turned to me again. I loved you, he said. I didn't flinch. You don't even know what love is. That was the breaking point. He started crying. Real, ugly crying. He collapsed into the nearest chair, head in his hands. No one moved. No one comforted him. He sobbed like a man finally hit by the full weight of what he did. The police came minutes later. Clara had called them ahead of time just in case. They arrested him quietly. He didn't resist. Just kept crying. When he was gone, the silence in the room felt heavier than his presence. Clara sat down slowly. Melissa rubbed her temples. Nia curled into herself, shaking. We didn't speak much after that. We just sat there, absorbing the shock. The betrayal. The raw, tangled pain. Clara filed for a formal separation and full custody of the kids. Her lawyer made sure everything was airtight. She was done playing nice. Melissa pushed ahead with legal action for fraud. She wasn't going to get her money back, but she wanted a record. Something that followed him. Nia decided to keep the baby. She moved in with a cousin upstate. Clara and I promised to help her however we could. She wasn't alone anymore. As for me, I went back to work. I cleared my name, but the damage was done. People whispered. Judged. Some coworkers supported me, others avoided me. That was fine. I'd survived worse. Some nights I still think about all of it. How one man managed to fool so many people. How I let myself believe his lies because I was lonely, vulnerable, craving something real. But there was something else too. We, the women he hurt, we became each other's strength. We built something out of the wreckage. Not revenge. Not just closure. Something better. A connection none of us asked for, but desperately needed. I don't hate Marcus anymore. I don't pity him either. He made his choices. He built his tower of lies. And when it fell, he was buried in the rubble. I won't say I've healed completely. Some wounds stay tender. Some nights are still quiet in a painful way. But I am stronger. And next time someone tells me to just trust them, they better mean it. Marcus was sentenced to 2 years for fraud and is still under civil investigation. Clara finalized her divorce and started therapy. Nia gave birth to a baby girl named Lila. Melissa started a nonprofit helping women targeted by financial scams. And me? I learned to rebuild, to believe in myself again. And I'm still learning. But I'm no longer lost. I'm wide awake.